And so, the unthinkable has finally happened. The global financial order that has sustained American prosperity since 1944 just experienced a fatal fracture that experts have been warning about for years, but that Washington, in its infinite arrogance, believed could never actually occur. Today, December 29, 2025, the era of the petrodollar is officially dead. In a move that has sent shockwaves through every central bank on the planet, Saudi Arabia has announced it is no longer settling oil trades exclusively in U.S. dollars. Instead, the kingdom has officially integrated into the BRICS Pay system, adopting a multi-currency framework that includes the Chinese yuan, the Russian ruble, and the new BRICS digital reserve currency. This is not just another diplomatic shift. This is the severance of the economic umbilical cord that allows the United States to print money without consequence. For 50 years, the world was forced to buy dollars to buy oil. That demand is what kept your savings valuable and your gas prices manageable. But as of this morning, that guarantee has vanished. It is honestly hard to believe we have reached this point, but if you've been watching this channel, you know exactly how we got here. Just like we saw with the collapse of the Canadian supply chain agreements last week, this is a direct result of a bullying as diplomacy strategy that has finally backfired. The Trump administration's constant use of the dollar as a weapon, imposing secondary sanctions and demanding subordination from sovereign allies, has forced the world's largest energy producer to seek an exit strategy. From Riyadh to Abu Dhabi, the message is clear. The risk of remaining tied to a volatile and unpredictable Washington is now higher than the risk of walking away. Corporate boardrooms on Wall Street are in total panic mode right now, trying to calculate what happens to the U.S. economy when trillions of petrodollars start flooding back to our shores because they are no longer needed for global trade.
Before we dive into what this means for your bank account and the prices you'll see at the grocery store next month, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We are breaking down the real story that the mainstream media is too terrified to tell you. Let's talk operational reality. The American economy has been built on the privilege of the dollar being the world's reserve currency. This privilege allowed us to run massive deficits and import cheap goods from everywhere. But when the Saudi Kingdom, America's most critical strategic partner in the Middle East, decides that the U.S. Treasury is no longer a reliable anchor, the entire edifice begins to crumble. Think about the just-in-time manufacturing we discussed with the Canada crisis. That system relies on price stability. But when the dollar loses its exclusive link to oil, inflation isn't just a trend, it becomes a structural tsunami. We are talking about a world where the cost of every imported component, every gallon of fuel, and every plastic subassembly doubles overnight because our currency has lost its global leverage. Trump's worldview that trade is a zero-sum game where you win by making others lose has collided with the reality of a multipolar world. He believed that Saudi Arabia had no choice but to obey. He assumed that because we provide military hardware, they would accept economic coercion. He was wrong. The Saudi officials made it clear they will not subordinate their economic future to the whims of an administration that treats allies like vassals.
What we are seeing is a fracturing of the global West. Our allies are watching the United States isolate itself, one trade war at a time. First, it was the Canadian lumber and steel, then the Mexican border closures, and now the crown jewel of the American empire, the petrodollar, has been surrendered because we chose confrontation over cooperation. The political implications are catastrophic. For years, the promise was that getting tough would make America richer. But look at the results. Factories aren't coming back. They are shutting down because they can't afford the new energy costs. The stock market is in a tailspin as investors realize the dollar hegemony is ending. This isn't theater, this is the snapping of the American century. As we move into 2026, the question is no longer if a crisis is coming, but how much of the old system can be saved. Saudi Arabia has called the bluff. The BRICS nations have built their alternative, and the United States is standing on the outside of a system it used to lead, wondering how America first resulted in America being left behind. Stay tuned to this channel as we track the hyperinflationary wave that is expected to hit by mid-January. The emperor has no clothes, and the currency has no backing. Hit that notification bell. You cannot afford to miss what's coming next.